Have you ever heard of an army that stood silent guard for over 2,000 years, buried beneath the earth? Today, we re-journeying back in time to ancient China to uncover the monumental story of how the Terracotta army was built. This isn't just a collection of statues. It's an afterlife army, an empire of clay, crafted to protect China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in the next world. The sheer scale is mind-boggling. Thousands of life-sized soldiers, each with a unique face, along with horses and chariots. How did they pull this off over 2,200 years ago, without modern technology? Let's dig in and find out. The story begins around 246 BC, when a young prince named Ying Zhen ascended the throne of the Qin state. He was just 13 years old. But this wasn't just any teenager. This was the man who would later conquer all rival states, unify China, and declare himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. And like many powerful rulers of the ancient world, he was obsessed with immortality. He launched a nationwide search for an elixir of life, but he was also a pragmatist. Just in case the elixir didn't work out, he needed a plan B, a grand insurance policy for the afterlife. This led to one of the most ambitious construction projects in human history, his own mausoleum. A sprawling underground necropolis designed to mirror the universe with the Terracotta army as its eternal garrison. The construction of this colossal project reportedly involved a workforce of over 700,000 people. These weren't just skilled artisans. They were laborers, convicts, and prisoners of war, conscripted from all corners of the newly unified empire. The work was grueling and lasted for nearly 4 decades. The location chosen was at the foot of Mount Li, a place rich in natural resources, especially the fine yellow loess soil that would become the very essence of the army. This soil, when mixed with water and sand, created a pliable yet strong clay, perfect for sculpting the thousands of soldiers. So, how did they make each soldier unique? It was a masterful combination of mass production and individual artistry. Think of it like a sophisticated assembly line. The process started with the basic body parts: legs, torsos, arms, and heads. The legs were solid and made using a coiling method, where ropes of clay were wound on top of each other and then smoothed out to create a stable base. The torsos, however, were hollow. This made them lighter, saved on materials, and helped prevent cracking when they were fired in the kilns. Craftsmen would build the torso around a core, then join it to the solid legs. Next came the arms. These were made separately and attached to the torso. The arms were positioned in various ways to show different roles, some holding invisible crossbows, others gripping spears, and officers with their hands clasped in front of them, projecting authority. But the real magic happened with the heads. There were about 8 basic mold shapes for the faces. Once a head was cast from a mold, it was handed over to a master artisan. This is where the individuality came in. The artisan would then apply fresh clay and, using delicate tools, sculpt unique features. They would change the shape of the nose, the curve of the eyes, add different styles of mustaches, beards, and intricate hairstyles, which often signified rank and ethnicity. No 2 soldiers were alike. It was a way of creating a realistic, diverse army representing the real soldiers of the Qin dynasty. Once a warrior was fully assembled, it was left to air dry. This was a critical stage. If it dried too quickly, it would crack. Too slowly, and it might slump or deform. After drying, the figures were fired in massive kilns. These weren't simple pottery kilns. They had to be large enough to hold a life-sized statue. The temperature inside had to be carefully controlled, reaching around 1,000 degrees Celsius. This intense heat turned the clay into hard, durable terracotta, capable of lasting for millennia. The reddish-brown color we see today is the natural color of this fired earth. But the soldiers weren't always this monochrome brown. Originally, they were a vibrant, colorful spectacle. After firing, each warrior was coated with a layer of lacquer, a natural tree sap that acted as a primer. Then, painters used pigments made from ground minerals to bring them to life. Cinnabar for red, malachite for green, azurite for blue, and charcoal for black. Their robes were painted in purples, greens, and reds. Their faces had realistic flesh tones, and even their eyes had pupils. Imagine seeing them not as a sea of gray-brown clay, but as a dazzling, lifelike army ready for battle. Sadly, when the pits were first excavated, the sudden exposure to dry air caused the ancient lacquer to flake off almost instantly, taking the vibrant colors with it. Today, archaeologists have developed special techniques to preserve the remaining traces of paint. giving us a precious glimpse into their original splendor. The army was organized just like a real military force. The pits where they were found are essentially long underground trenches. The soldiers were arranged in precise battle formations. Pit 1, the largest, contains the main force, with over 6,000 figures of infantry and chariots. Vanguards of archers and crossbowmen stand at the front, followed by columns of armored soldiers carrying spears and halberds, interspersed with war chariots. Pit 2 is a more complex mobile force, with cavalry, archers, and chariots suggesting a rapid response unit. Pit 3 is the smallest and appears to be the high command post, filled with high-ranking officers and a single ornate chariot, where battle strategies would have been decided. There's even a Pit 4 which was found empty, suggesting the project was left unfinished, likely due to the emperor's death and the subsequent collapse of his dynasty. Let's not forget the weapons. These weren't clay replicas. The soldiers were armed with real, state-of-the-art bronze weapons. Archaeologists have found over 40,000 of them, including swords, spears, crossbows, and arrowheads. What's incredible is their preservation. Many of the blades were still razor-sharp after 2 millennia. Chemical analysis revealed they were coated with a thin layer of chromium oxide. For years, this was thought to be an advanced anti-rust technology, centuries ahead of its time. However, more recent research suggests the chrome might have come from the lacquer applied to the weapon handles or from contaminants in the soil. Regardless of the reason, the result is the same: perfectly preserved weapons that are a testament to the advanced metallurgical skills of the Qin dynasty. The final step was the burial. The completed and painted soldiers were carefully lowered into the pits, arranged in their formations, and their real weapons were placed in their hands or beside them. The pits were then covered with a massive timber roof, which was waterproofed with layers of reed mats and clay, and finally covered with more than 2 meters of soil, hiding the army from the world. For over 2,000 years, this clay army stood in silent, dark obedience, waiting for a command that would never come. They remained undiscovered until 1974, when a group of farmers digging a well stumbled upon the head of a warrior, accidentally making one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. The creation of the Terracotta Army was a monumental feat of logistics, artistry, and sheer willpower. It represents the immense power of the first emperor, who could mobilize a nation's resources for a personal, otherworldly goal. But it's also a tribute to the countless unnamed artisans and laborers who poured their skill and sweat into every single figure. Each unique face in that clay army is a silent storyteller, a ghost from an ancient dynasty, frozen in time. They are a powerful reminder of a past empire's ambition and a timeless masterpiece of human creativity. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the past. What part of this incredible story amazed you the most? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. See you next time.